Are the Eagles in meltdown mode? And if they are, how can we make money off of it in DraftKings Showdown? I'm going to dig into it right after this. What's up, guys? Simon Edwards at Pumacom here with Heat Seeker Sports, and you're watching Gamescript, looking at the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. We got a 40.5 point total, and we got Philly as 7.5 point favorites in this one. And we've seen a lot of drama coming out of Philadelphia recently with the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts relationship. Apparently, they had they've been having a falling out for the last couple of years, but they had to have a meeting moderated by Saquon Barkley this past week. And supposedly it was a couple-hour meeting or whatever. But we've seen this type of stuff before with the Eagles where they just have this drama going on and it leads to a meltdown at some point in the season. And we are in a situation where we have a divisional matchup on Thursday Night Football. We've seen it with these divisional matchups recently, where we saw the Buffalo Bills recently lose to the New England Patriots. Will that happen with this game? I don't know. We can build some lineups for it, though, and cover our bases. And if we hit, then we hit big with those unexpected outcomes. So make sure to hit the like button. Give me the 50 likes so I can put my favorite picks in the comment section as we get closer to lock. Make sure to hit that hype button. I need that hype button to get hit to help spread the word on this show. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm looking for 2,000 subscribers. I only need about 6 more to get there. Almost got there for week 5, like my goal was, but we're still a few short. So if you guys can hit that subscribe button, I'm actually going to be looking for 2,100 subscribers by the end of week 6. So if you guys can help me get there, I definitely appreciate it. You want to subscribe anyways to get access to the secret weapon coming out, putting out a website that's going to be a secret weapon for research when you're trying to get news and nuggets on your obscure players that you want to check out, maybe for Showdown when you're looking for cheap players for Showdown, or if you're looking for like options for prop betting or just general interest or fantasy interest in general. So you're going to want to make sure to be subscribed to the channel. I'm going to give a free beta preview to all my YouTube subscribers when the time comes, probably in like a week or two, it's looking like. Also want to subscribe to get access to all these shows when they come out. Do a lot of game scripts which are focused on individual games like the Monday game, the Thursday game, etc., the island games, but also do a show covering the main slate on, usually put that out on Saturday at some point. So you're going to want access to those. Subscribe to the channel so you can get that access. All right, guys, so let's move on to the game here. This could go one of two ways, honestly. What game am I on? This could go one of two ways, honestly. It could go in the direction of a, what do you call it? A meltdown for the Eagles, or they could have a situation where they've hashed it out, and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are on the same page, and we see some fantasy goodness out of the passing game. I think that's what most people are going to be, driving towards. It could also be like there's another narrative, obviously, with Saquon heading home to New York to face off against his old team again. And, there could be a lot of people on that narrative. I don't know how well known the A.J. Jalen stuff is, but, people could jump on the Saquon Barkley narrative and be more heavy on Barkley. But Barkley's been playing very poorly recently. It looks like he's hurt. His knee is banged up. He's in a good matchup. New York's been giving up a lot of explosive runs. But, with his potential knee injury, I don't know how much Barkley exposure I'm going to want in this one. Obviously, you can see with 17 points in 4 out of 5 games, he could easily show up in the optimal for a showdown lineup, regardless of him not playing as well as he has been. New York is also giving up 27 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. But if the ownership is on Barkley, that'll give us an opportunity to go with the Brown angle. All right, so let's take a look at Jalen Hurts. I'm guessing that Hurts, Barkley might be the 2 highest owned guys on the slate. Probably for captain as well. They're the guys with the highest floors, at least. But Jalen Hurts, we've seen 2 weeks over 24 DraftKings points, and then he almost cracked 20 on another couple weeks. So he's got a high floor for us. Didn't play great against Denver last week. The team didn't play great against Denver last week, but Hurts ended up with 280 yards. They threw more often than they have been recently. You can see some of these yardage totals. We're looking at 130 yards, 101 yards, 152 yards. This is where the drama with A.J. Brown is sprouting, because he's not getting opportunities, and wide receivers love to get their opportunities. So A.J. Brown is going to be probably the key to the slate. I tend to lean towards, I think that powwow with Saquon Barkley is going to lead to A.J. Brown getting a ton of opportunity in this game. I think they're going back to, they want to go back to that passing game. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown do. They've talked about it when they had a big week for Brown. I believe in week 3, they came out afterwards and were talking up how, they need to get back to the passing game. They did a 33-26 win over the Rams. I would not be surprised if they end up stomping the Giants. The Giants are missing half their receivers, but if they end up wanting to keep their foot on the gas just to prove a point against the Giants, not necessarily to the Giants, but to the world about the passing game of the Eagles, how it's still a threat, then I would not be surprised to see them, just focus on A.J. Brown in this game. Let's go over to the injury report, since I just talked about some of the injuries. We'll check out the Giants first. You can see in their receiver core, Darius Slayton is out for this game. Malik Nabers is out. We got a bunch of the backups that are out too. So we're left with a receiver core of Wan'Dale Robinson, Bo Collins, Jalin Hyatt, and Theo Johnson. Those are the main guys who are going to be receiving. And Wan'Dale Robinson, I think I say Wan'Dale already. Wan'Dale's the guy with the most experience in this receiver core. Jalin Hyatt was getting hype a couple years ago, but he's never lived up to it. He's a very fast receiver, which is going to be important because the Eagles have given up some long touchdowns this season so far. And Jalin Hyatt's pretty cheap. Bo Collins, I don't know anything about Bo Collins, really. I'm going to have to do some more digging before I put in my favorite picks in the comment section, which is why you want to hit that like button to get me to 50 likes. And I need 20 hypes too. I'm going to get to 20 hypes. As far as the offensive line for the Giants seems to be intact, except for one of the left tackles. If you're looking at the defense, this is where they're a little bit more banged up. The Giants have been giving up, how much they've been giving up? 25 DraftKings points a game to the wideout position. They've been better against, the Giants have been giving up, 22.8 DraftKings points a game to wideouts. They've been giving up more to the slot. They've been giving up 16.4 DraftKings points a game to the slot. So they've been more vulnerable in the slot, which would tend to lean more towards DeVonta Smith. But, I think the drama and everything with A.J. Brown is going to kind of lead there. It might be a game where we start both those guys, but we'll play around with our lineups. But I think part of the reason that they've been They've been vulnerable in the passing game. It's been like all these injuries that we're seeing. The thing is their defensive front is very strong. They got Dexter Lawrence, who's a stud, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau, one of the linebackers, is very another very strong defensive piece that they have. So they got a good defense on paper, but like we haven't really seen uh, uh, everything come together for them yet. But they certainly could handle a team that they're familiar with in the Eagles. So don't count out this being a close game, and don't count out the Giants defense being able to do something against these Eagles, depending on how the emotions flow on Thursday night. So let's look over at Jackson Dart next. Jackson Dart, I think he's another guy with a good floor in this one. 19 DraftKings points in each of the last couple games, and he's looked decent for a rookie. And the Eagles have been giving up, how much have been giving up? 16.4. That's a middling amount to quarterbacks. They've been giving up 25.6 DraftKings points a game to wideouts, and they've been giving up 7.6 to the slot. Let's take a look at the injuries on the Eagles. If we're looking at the Philadelphia injuries, Saquon Barkley is banged up with a knee. He's not on the injury report currently, so it doesn't look like we're going to have to worry about whether or not he's going to play. I wasn't too worried about that anyways. The receiver core has a couple of scrubs that are out, but they really don't go to anyone besides A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith, and occasionally Jahan Dotson anyways. I've seen John Mechie get some work recently, but not enough to be significant. They're missing their fullback. That doesn't help Barkley either, along with Barkley's injuries. Landon Dickerson is out. That also is going to negatively impact Barkley. And we're looking at, Cameron Williams is out, Willie Lampkin is out, and Miles Hinton is also out. So really banged up on the offensive line. They were talking, I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about Mailata talking about, how he hasn't fully recovered yet from the long season last year with the Super Bowl run, and it took him a while to feel back to normal. And it's just been a grind for this offensive line with all the tush pushes that they're doing and everything like that. So it's starting to wear on these guys, and that's not going to help Barkley. But against a defensive front as well, we could see Jalen Hurts scrambling a lot in this game. Jalen Carter is questionable. We're looking at Nakobe Dean out. We're looking at Jacorian Bennett out, and Agbo Okoronkwo is also on IR. So, we got the main guys in the secondary intact. The problem is they traded or released or several of their secondary went away in free agency. So we're down to Cooper DeJean. We're down to Quinyon Mitchell. We're down to Mukuba, and we're down to Reed Blankenship, basically in that secondary. This is a situation where they've had to shift guys around a lot more than they did last year. They don't have the same players and personnel that they had to work with last year. So that's part of the reason why they've been giving up 25.6 DraftKings points a game to wideouts. And that's going to set up Jackson Dart to have potentially decent game in this one. Now, the weakness against the slot, actually, no, they were the weakness against wideouts. That's going to be a problem for us because there's really no wideouts on the Giants anymore that are any good. So, it's really trying to figure out between these scrubby guys like, let's see, Jalin Hyatt, who I talked about. He got 3 targets last week, but no receptions. Eventually, he could connect on a deep ball with Jackson. Let's go and look at the real quick. We'll take a look at the receivers over and their snap count so we get an idea of who's getting the snaps here. So Malik Nabers went out. Slayton had 75% of the snaps last week, but he's gone now. We got 95% to Wan'Dale. He's got the safest workload. Bo Collins had 38% of the snaps last week, and Jalin Hyatt had 47%. So we're looking at bumps for Bo Collins and Jalin Hyatt, and we're looking at a weakness against wideouts in the Eagles. So, those are going to be guys that we can potentially target here. I want to take a look at running backs too, because the Eagles are giving up a lot of explosive the Giants are giving up a lot of explosive runs, and if Barkley's explosiveness is hindered by his knee, we know A.J. Dillon hasn't had explosiveness in a while. That's going to be interesting for Will Shipley, because if Will Shipley's able to get in there and get his opportunities, then we could see another cheap option for us in Will Shipley. The problem is with Will Shipley, 13% versus 15% for A.J. Dillon. Shipley, if we shift over here, only had 1 rushing attempt last week. He had 2 targets, but if he's able to break off an explosive run, if we wanted to not use Barkley in a lineup, but we still wanted to have that running back representation in that good matchup, then Shipley or A.J. Dillon are guys that we could potentially plug into our lineups this week. So let's take a look at some of these other guys. DeVonta Smith has that nice matchup against the slot. Smith, we never see him in any of this drama. It's usually A.J. Brown, but Smith had his big week last week. He had 10 targets, 8 receptions for 114 yards. I would not be surprised to see him have a big game too. Maybe we see Jalen Hurts successful with 2 of his receivers. We can do a build for that. But DeVonta Smith, I would lean more towards this being an A.J. Brown game. They are playing against a heavy man coverage, and that is where A.J. Brown tends to have his biggest games. Let's see here. A.J. Brown is getting 0.58 fantasy points per route run against man coverage, and 0.39 for DeVonta Smith. They're basically the only 2 guys that they target against man coverage, except for beyond Goedert. So only 2 wide receivers. Wan'Dale, talked about him already. He's in a good matchup. Now, we did see Wan'Dale a couple weeks ago. Had that fluky week where he got 142 yards, and his average depth of target was a lot longer than it normally is. You can see like his 6 and his 4.7. Those 2 weeks where he had 26 in one week, he only had 4 targets, and 17 in that other week where he had 10 targets and 142 yards. Don't be surprised if they start to use Wan'Dale deeper, but I think that they're going to want to attack that short field weakness against the Eagles, and I think that's where Wan'Dale is going to have a decent game in this one and a decent floor at least. Looks like Tyrone Tracy is back this week. That's bad news for Cam Skattabo. We got him up here. Skattabo, he's only been getting like 3 to 4 yards per carry as the starter. So he hasn't been all that impressive, but he's got a lot of energy, and he sparked something in the team at least. But I don't know if how much Tyrone Tracy is going to be digging into his workload, because he hasn't really done anything to secure the job. as the workhorse or at least go-to guy, which could be interesting for Tracy if everybody's going to be on Skattabo. Let's see. Goedert has been used a lot this season, a lot more than we're used to, at least in the touchdown department. He's got 4 touchdowns already. He's had 9 targets, 4 targets, 2 targets, and 7 targets. So the Giants, though, have been shut down versus tight ends. On the other side, the Eagles have also been shut down against tight ends. And we saw Theo Johnson emerge last week with 7 targets, 6 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. He's had 3 touchdowns in the 2 games that Jackson Dart has started, 21 DraftKings points last week. I mean, I've liked him as a tight end, but I think this is going to be a rough matchup for Theo Johnson. But he could, he's still in the player pool, but it's going to be a rougher matchup than he's faced so far with Jackson Dart. All right, let's go to the Eagles D. Eagles D will be in play against a rookie quarterback with Vic Fangio steering the ship here. 14 and 13 points in 2 of the last 3 weeks. Definitely capable of handling this situation. Even with some of the, I would imagine coming off this loss to 17-21 to Denver, they're going to be fired up. So Eagles defense is definitely in play. Jake Elliott has not done really anything. They're probably going for it on 4th a lot. And Jake Elliott just isn't getting many opportunities. Looks like he hasn't missed yet on the season, though. So they got that going for him. But like Eagles with the tush push, it's going to be tough for him to get opportunities unless they completely stall out. McTanamy. All right, he's been reverted to the Giants practice squad. So keep an eye on this kicker situation because it looks like Younghoe Koo is going to be the kicker for the Giants in this one, and he got cut from the Falcons. He was missing too many clutch kicks, so don't be surprised if Koo is the starting kicker. Keep an eye on inactives ahead of it, or keep an eye on the news in general because we're going to want to know who the kicker for the Giants is heading into this game. It looks like it's going to be Koo. Shipley and Dillon I talked about. Giants D, if you build the Giants build, like Eagles meltdown mode, then Giants D, you could definitely use them. They got the pieces on paper, like I said. They just don't they just haven't gotten it together. Dotson, if you're looking for a cheap guy, 3 targets in 3 out of 5 games so far. Had some good plays in the Super Bowl. Jalin Hyatt and Bo Collins had talked about both those guys. Bo Collins, 3 targets, 1 reception, 7 yards. I mean, they're both scrubs. You're going to have to kind of pick and choose. I know the history of Hyatt a little bit better. Hyatt's been on the team a few years, and he had some big time speed that I was excited about in showdowns a few times, and he's never delivered. But this is about as good an opportunity as he can ask for. Tank Bigsby now on the Eagles too. He hasn't gotten any opportunity yet. Daniel Bellinger, the backup tight end for the Giants. He used to be the starting tight end. He got 4 targets last week too. 52 yards, so pretty good game for Bellinger. I wouldn't rule him out of the player pool. Olszewski might be another guy that gets more opportunity in this one as another receiver on the Giants. He's a good special teams guy. He's been around for years. He's been pretty good in the past when given his opportunities, at least in special teams. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do something at $1,000. Mechie was one of the hyped up rookie receivers a few years ago. He ended up missing his rookie season, diagnosed with cancer before the season started. Took him a couple years to recover, but came back with the Texans. He looked like he had a few breakout games with the Texans last year, but never really sealed the deal there, and the Eagles picked him up. He's been getting a few targets, but nothing major. But, he's another weapon for them. Estime too. They got Estime. They got a bunch of these running backs that have been dropped recently, and they picked up Gibson. Gibson's another good pickup for them from the Jets. I'm surprised the Jets dropped him. He was looking pretty good with his opportunities last. I can't remember, last year or the year before. So I don't really see anyone else of interest. So let's go ahead and build this lineup. Let's build it chalkier in the beginning. I don't know what the ownership on Brown is going to be, so we'll save him for a second. I would imagine the narrative of Barkley back in New York. People are going to try to get Hurts and Dart in there. Going to leave us with 3,800. So if we're looking for salary relief, let's go with Hyatt, and let's go with one of these kickers. Let's go with Koo. It's going to leave us with 3,600. We can get the Giants D. We can get Dotson. We can get Collins in there, Bellinger. So it leaves us with a few options. So, with Barkley as the captain, it kind of limits us, as you can see, if we want to get all these studs in here. So that's going to be a tough build with Barkley and the captain. If we wanted to go Barkley and the captain and fade Hurts and go Dart, let's go with Brown. Then let's go with Hyatt again. 9,400. We can go with a kicker here. Or we go with the Eagles D, and it leaves us 4K. We could go A.J. Dillon or Jahan Dotson, or I like this build a little bit better. I feel like it's more distributed. If you want to take out the Eagles D and go with we could go with Theo Johnson. Still leaves us in the same place, basically, without Dillon, but I'm not really interested in Dillon anyways. Let's skip him and go with Elliott. That leaves us with 4,400. We get Shipley in there. I kind of like that build. If the Eagles are crushing the Giants and they're able to get Shipley some work. All right, guys. Let's clear that out. Let's go for an A.J. Brown captain build, and then we'll build a Giants build. So we're going A.J. Brown. I like Hurts better with A.J. Brown. I'd skip Barkley in this one, even though he's got a great matchup. Let's go Dart. Let's go back to Hyatt. I'm just kind of using him as my default cheap guy. I'm not that high on him, but I like if you look at the options down there, it's like slim pickings. Oh, Wan'Dale, I want to get in there too. So if we get Wan'Dale in there, leaves us in that same spot. We got like a Giants D, we got Jahan Dotson, we got Bo Collins. If I wanted to get Shipley in here, 2,500. If we put Shipley in, we could get like Ozweski. Just some of these scrubbier guys. Not really a whole lot of great options down there. So Shipley's hard to make it happen. I'd rather go, I think, with Hyatt or Bo Collins. Bo Collins leaves us with 39. So same situation, but those are some options with A.J. Brown. So if you want to do a Giants build, I think Jackson Dart to Wan'Dale, and we probably want to get one of these running backs in here. So probably let's go with Skattabo, and let's go with A.J. Brown. Let's get rid of Skattabo. Let's put Tyrone Tracy back in here. Leaves us with 5,300 per guy. If we wanted to put a second receiver with him, maybe we put in Hyatt here. 7,500. And, that leaves us with options like Goedert, which is a great option for us. Theo Johnson. Matter of fact, let's take out Hyatt. Let's put in Johnson as his second receiver. And that leaves us with 4,900. We can get Koo in there. We could get Koo in there. Shipley is an option for us. I don't want to go 5-5-1 Giants build, but it kind of shows what we can do. If we wanted to swap him out, let's get Wan'Dale in there as our other option for and let's get Dart back in there. Leaves us with 6,400. We can get Goedert in this build too. If we don't want Brown and we want to get Hurts in there. It leaves us with 5,200. So we still got like the kickers as options. So keep that in mind with these Giants builds are going to go so much easier. And it's an easy narrative to spin. It's just a matter of like, is Jackson Dart going to be able to do anything against this Vic Fangio defense? He's shown some upside so far. I don't know, like necessarily if they can pull it off. Let's swap out Hurts real quick and let's put DeVonta Smith in there. At least this was 6,600, so it puts us in that Goedert situation. Same situation basically as you put Barkley in here too. That leaves us with Koo again or Shipley. So you basically could do a different variation of this Wan'Dale build with all the studs of the Eagles. But I mean, I like having Wan'Dale. I like having Dart, Tracy, Barkley, or not Barkley, like Johnson. Barkley, I don't mind in this type of build because then we can take advantage of the matchup there that Barkley's going to have. If we put Brown in there, let's take Tracy out. Let's put Skattabo in there. 3,400 leaves us in that Hyatt range that we were in previously. And I don't know if Skattabo is going to be worth 3,000 more than Tracy in this one. So we'll keep an eye on the news leading into lock. I haven't heard a lot about that situation with Tracy coming back, how it's going to affect Skattabo. So we got to keep an eye out for alerts on that and keep an eye on ownership in general. A lot of this could change if ownership swings the other way. Make sure to hit that like button. Get me to 50 likes so we can put out a shorter, actually not put out a shorter video. I'm going to be putting out a shorter underdog video regardless. You're going to want to check that out. Subscribe to the channel. Get me to 2,000 subscribers. And you subscribe to the channel, get access to all the videos I put out, alerts, sign up for the alerts on them. And make sure to hit that like button. Like I said, get me to 50 likes so I can put my favorite picks in the comment section. And then also hit that hype button. All right, guys, I'll see you for that short video.